Hey everybody, Dave Woodson, Roller with the Drinking Agents here in Northwest Indiana, and I am one of the agents here, one of the admins here. Real quick, just make sure we're live. Give me 1 second. I sent my guest the link. He hasn't clicked on it yet. Make sure we're live real quick. Let me refresh the page. Having some technical issues real quick. Having some technical issues. That's par for the course. Zoom will not let me log in. I hope it's not a precursor of what's going to happen to me on Wednesday night. Yeah, we're live in the group. What do you know? I was waiting for James Festini to show up. Make sure you guys can hear me. You can hear me just fine. Perfect. Now let's wait for him to show up, and we'll go from there. And we're gonna talk door knocking tonight. Now that we're starting to loosen up a little bit, and COVID cases are going down in some areas, and what have you. I'm hot. That's the only way I can unzip this jacket is to do that. Sorry, folks. You did not mean for you to see that. I had a massage today. I'm hot. Damn weather in Indiana. It was 65 today at one point. Now it's going to snow in the next 2 days. And it'll be 60 on Friday again. Welcome to Indiana, folks. I even spelled James's name wrong up there. I just realized that. I just saw that. I can't type anymore. I've learned to type and then go back and correct it all at once. And that now with it's Festini, not Fettini. It's Festini. I'll correct it later if I can. Any questions you guys got tonight? Just go ahead and ask. Tonight's wine is a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's Clos de Bois. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. Clos de Bois. If I'm saying it wrong, correct me later. I'm used to saying shit wrong all the time. I get that from my parents. First pour is always a healthy pour. Having my second webinar this Wednesday night for a home selling webinar. I'm hoping it goes off good. I advertised it today by posting groups, putting on my business page. When I get a pretty good reach on my business page, I'll tell you how it goes on next week. But I'm not expecting too much out of it. I'm not expecting too much out of it. Just oh, there he is. I'm bringing on James. If you can hear me, James, I'm bringing you on real quick. I don't see your video though. There you go. Bringing you on now.
All right.
We're going.
How's it going, man? You can hear me too, right?
I can hear you just fine.
Settings, Bose audio settings.
I misspelled your name, so I'll change it later.
All right.
Fettini, not Festini. I was
How's
typing
it going,
fast.
man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good.
Are you door knocking yet back in California or not?
No. Rumor has it will be maybe June 15th, maybe.
Really? Are you ready? Are you gearing up?
I'm very, very ready. I know it's gonna be the best way to go, for sure. Like, I know everybody who was reluctant to put their house on the market last year is going to be putting their house up this year. And everybody who's planning on putting their house up this year will also. So I'm believing it's going to be the biggest listing season of my career. And
how is your market? Will that transfer from a seller's market to a buyer's market that way or not?
No, I don't. I think there'll be that many people hitting the market, but I do believe it'll be, just like it has been for the last 6-8 months. Is anything you list is money in the bank within 30 days or less. Yeah, that's why as soon as they let me hit the streets, man, I'm gonna push. I'm gonna be breaking my own records for the doors, knowing that is the fastest way to get a listing. It's gonna be on.
So what are you doing? What are you doing? I know you got a book. I'll let you pitch it in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll even let you put your own Amazon link in there too.
Okay.
And
Sure.
I read part of it last year. Didn't finish reading it because we couldn't door knock here. And so
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish reading it this week before I go to California. I'm going to Arizona next week, so I'm gonna read it before I go to Arizona.
All right. What are you
So
doing in Arizona?
it's Club Wealth,
Oh
coach,
yeah.
coaching,
Yeah.
listing agent boot camp.
Oh yeah.
So
That's nice.
what do you do? What
That's
do you do?
good.
What do you do? What do you do when you door? What do you do? What do you do when you door knock? Do you scout out? Do you scout out a neighborhood? Is it a geo
No,
farm
no.
for you?
I mean, when you door knock as many doors as I knock, you don't really scout out. You don't look for turnover. I set out to go, when it's a door knock season, in particular. It's 100 doors a day, 200 doors in a day. You run out of doors pretty quickly. So you want to obviously go in an area that you are branding yourself in and your farm. But most people have a farm of, I don't know, 500, 1,000. I'd be done by the end of 2 weeks with that. So it's usually a rotation of about 10,000 doors, which is a decent sized territory, and just no door left behind. Just knocking and knocking and knocking. Ask a simple question. Get off their lawn.
What question do you ask?
If they're interested in selling their house, a lot of the scripts and the coaching and the training have it all wrong. In that people believe that you have to establish rapport and get people, have them know, like, and trust you, and you just can't do that in this era. People's attention spans aren't going to tolerate, a cold call or a door knock that's going to last more than a couple of seconds. Most people, they say that the average consumer has the attention span of a goldfish. That was from an article in 2014 from Time Magazine. And it was done on a study that Microsoft began in 2003. In 2003, Microsoft had the average consumer with the attention span of 12 seconds. And the article, when it was published in 2014, was 8 seconds. So what do you think it is now?
3.
Seconds? Yeah. So, most people right now, we're in a society where everything has to happen very, very quickly. And when a stranger calls or a stranger knocks on the door, they have two questions. Who the hell are you and what do you want? And you've got less than 6 seconds to answer that question and get what you're looking for. And most coaches and trainers would have you think that you're going to get to the door and build rapport or establish some sort of connection, or like, total Sheldon the Machine Levine crap from Glengarry Glen Ross, where you start spouting off about fishing and no. I get to the door and I say, "Hi, my name is James with Century 21 Real Estate, and I was wondering if you had any interest in selling your house." That's it. I do that in less than 6 seconds. I can see them. I can hear their tone of voice. I can tell if they're receptive, if they are interested, but not right now. They will give me a very specific and obvious answer, and it's going to be no.
No.
Everybody is going to say no. Very few people are, if ever, going to say yes. But once you understand that the knee-jerk response to a maybe is no, but it has a very distinct sound. And if you train your ear to listen to it, you'll hear them say no, but you'll interpret the tone of which they say it as not right now, maybe later. And it sounds like this: no. And that right there is the difference between me saying, "Thank you very much, have a nice day," or me saying, "Do you think maybe later down the road you'd reconsider?" And firing back those specific words tells them, we're not going to talk about this right now. And with my body language at the door, I'm shifting my body to leave. And I'm telling them with my words, I'm out of here. Let's talk about it later. And when I say, do you think maybe later down the road you'd reconsider it, lets them take down their guard and make them feel as if we're not going to talk about this anymore. My body language will say, I'm walking away now. They will open up. If they're interested, I promise you, it is impossible for someone to think maybe and say no without me picking up on it, as long as I do it within that 6 seconds. If I get to the door and I start spitting a bunch of crap, hi, my name is Agent with Company. How are you today? Well, we recently listed a house about 3 blocks away, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and we were just wondering, who do you know who? Like, they'll have already
Put that
manifested
shield.
a hell no, and the wall will be so high and thick that their knee jerk will have enough time to be prepared instead of catching them off guard. They'll still say no, but the faster I get them to say no, the better I am at being a human lie detector, is really how it works. And yeah, absolutely. I do it on the phones, and every 100 people I speak to with this identical script, I will extract three to 5 individuals who say no, and then you think maybe later down the road, okay, great, I'd love to. Or do you have any idea what the house is worth? It's very different at the door because there's a lot of dynamics, like mechanics, and it's almost subliminal and kind of like stealth ninja neurolinguistics, body language that I use to make them feel comfortable and make them feel like I'm out of there in a very short amount of time, so that they release the vibrations in the air that convince me something's behind that no. And if they're not interested, okay, great, thank you very much, have a nice day. But even if they are, more often than not, even if I don't get a name, a number, and I walk away, I see often in my notes that I say something was behind that no, I couldn't get through, that I'll see a sign in the front of their house within 3 to 6 months, because I can sense it. It's just, you learn how to say no enough times. When you go to a doctor and they hit you in the knee with that little rock and your knee jerks, for us, we just see a knee jerk. To the doctor, who's a trained practitioner, he sees something that we don't.
Right.
But once you learn this method, you now see something that most people don't. And as long as you know how to leverage this unheard of method, it's super powerful. So that's what I
When
say at the
you
door, but there's a lot more than just saying it. You got to listen.
if you see a sign in their yard 3 to 6 months from now, wouldn't you better serve if you write their address down and mail them something later down the road?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are many instances where I will get a vibration out of them. I'll go back and I'll look up their number and I'll try to call them and they just dodge. If I really sense it, then, I'll definitely, stick something, put them on a mail campaign. But even when you get the lead, it doesn't mean you get the listing. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I sense that there's something worth it, there are more methods to the follow-up, but there are many times where I can't use what I call the 5 approaches, which is mail, email, text, telephone, and door. If I can't hit them with any of those 5 over the period of time since I've walked away from the door, obviously trying to send them a letter is passive. Sending them an email, obviously, if I didn't get their email, I might not even have the right email if I find it. A text message, that's pretty invasive, so I don't really jump through that, unless they know me. I could try to call them, but if they don't answer their phone or it's on the do not call list, I'm in compliance. And then I'm not going to go back to the door and say, hey, I felt something. So again, it's a long-winded answer to everything I have to say, because there's
I
a lot
felt
of
something there.
details.
I'm not sure if you felt it, but I felt it. It was something.
I think you were lying last time, are you? But it's true. It's true. It's so it's like nothing else anyone teaches or has ever heard. But as soon as you open yourself up to learning what I teach, it changes the game in so many ways, that when you hear what people say, and many times you'll hear someone say something and instinctually, man, they're lying, and they know they're lying. So you just have to know the words to
You can
get them
say
to admit
full
it.
shit. You can say
Yeah.
full shit.
Full of shit. Yeah, you can tell when people like that, and as long as you know the words to get them to open up another, put down their defenses, it's killer stuff. Yeah.
It's 2020. Most 2020 you couldn't door knock. So what'd you
Uh,
do? What'd you do instead?
I knocked right up until where it started getting awkward. It was St. Patty's Day was the last day, and believe it or not, I generated 4 listing leads that last day. It was one of the best days door knocking ever. And 3 of them I ended up selling during the course of 2020.
Really?
So yeah, it killed me not to be there. They were fantastic. And, most of the time when you generate these leads, you don't, they're not like today, although, and I've been doing this nearly 30 years, 28 years, the same method. And back in the early 90s, I was able to go from like 0 to listing within a couple of days. That changed, a lot of evolution, a lot of reluctancy. It was just different world and the way people behave with their finances that, a lot of things have led to that sort of consumer behavior. But the way that door knocking unfolded in 2020, it really, no other method I can see will get you a listing faster than door knocking. But some of them, like one of them that I got on March 17th, I listed them December and we closed like January 3rd. But it was the top of the percentage in our commission. I don't know why people say you're not allowed to say commission in places. Like, very soon it's going to be transparent. Most of these websites are going to tell you what the commission is, right?
Right. Yeah.
So then we can start talking about it again. But it was full commission. My slice was bigger, and it was sold within 21 days, and for $900,000, and it was a door. So it was what, $25,000, $30,000 check from a door. I can't wait to get back out on those doors, man.
You're inspiring me. I actually may start doing it this year.
If I had to cold call or door knock using anyone else's script or style, I would hate it. I would think it doesn't work. It would be scary, because there would be an expectation that would lead you to feel defeated rather quickly. If you think you're going to get to a door and hit it out of the park and everyone's going to be, receptive and you're going to get, killer leads and all, and it doesn't happen, if you've got what it takes to go out one more time and it doesn't happen again, I'd be impressed if you go out a third time. But if you go out knowing that rejection is going to be part of it, it's a very different animal,
Andy Lowe's checking in a little lady. He wants to know what your opening line is.
Hi, my name is James with Century 21 Real Estate, and I was just wondering if you had any interest in selling your house. That's it.
There you go, Jamie.
And you just listen. I mean, it really, a lot of times, when they go, no, I said, oh, thank you very much. Have a nice day. They're almost stunned, because the difference is between what I do and what most people do or are taught to do is, well, I'm a pop-up ad, right? I'm an interruption marketer. When we cold call or we door knock, it's interruption, but it's active. Everything else is marketing and it's passive. So, it feels better because you're not hurting anything, or you feel like you're not a monster because you're interrupting people. But if you want to take action, there's only 2 methods by which you're going to go out and go get leads, not pay for inquiries to convert into a lead if you can. I get listing leads. The internet gives you buyer inquiries that maybe some of them could be a seller, but maybe not in your area, whatever. So what I do is, the difference between what I do and the other gurus that they teach is, I'm a pop-up ad. I'm a the pop-up banner.
Right.
But most gurus are the pop-up ad that right in the middle of your ads. Facebook does this all the time, where you're watching a video and all of a sudden the pop-up comes in and you see that thing where it says your content will resume in 10, 9,
and you're waiting for it to stop.
There's nothing you can do except for wait to hit skip. I am a pop-up ad, but I'm like right there and you hit skip and I'm out of here. And that sort of behavior lets people go on with their day. So many times when I knock on the door and I say, okay, thank you very much, have a nice day, they're almost like, that's it? I'm like, yeah, that's it. You want to sell? No? Okay, I'm out of here. Because they are so used to somebody trying to, hey, can I come in?
Antagonize them.
Just get everything out of them. There's nothing there. Either they're interested or they're not. And I'm skilled enough to know if they are or if they're not. But a lot of times when I'm knocking, they're like, that's it. I'm like, that's it. And just on the opposite, a lot of people will say, oh, no, I don't have time. Which is, of course, because they think I'm going to come in there and I'm going to hit them with 30 seconds worth of blah, blah. So I say, oh, no, I was just wondering if you were thinking of selling your house. No, all right, thanks. And I get what I want still in a much more, speedy manner. But again, when people do that, it's because they're expecting someone's going to go in there with everyone else's script and say, hi, Mr. Jones. You come at my door and you say, hi, is this James? I'll be like,
how do you know my name?
Get the gun. I go behind. I don't approach them. I don't ask for the door. There are certain distances. There's certain body language. There's a certain dress code. There's a lot of, that's why I call, dynamic door knocking, because it's not just going up to the door and reading from a script. There's a lot of very well thought out, but it gets results. It's like taking candy from a baby. And on the phones too. It's very similar.
What time of day do you go door? What time of day do you door knock?
There is no bad time. From 9 a.m. till 10 minutes after sunset. That's the best time to door knock. If I told someone the best time is between 5 and 6, they'd sit around and scratch their ass until 4:45, and then go out at 5, and then give up by 6. Now, when you go out to door knock, again, you got to the amount of numbers you have to do for this to work are much higher than you would think. So to go out and say between 5 and 6, I'm going to dabble in it. It's the difference between, making something of it and actually putting in a real good effort, or I'll try it. This is not a try thing. You won't get good at it. You won't get the results you expect. Other gurus will tell you, knock 20 doors a day, and I'm telling you 100, and maybe you'll do all right. Yeah, I get a listing every 4,000 doors. I get a listing. If I told you go knock on 4,000 doors, many people would be like, hell no, that's not good enough. I'll do something else. It's like, then go do something else. See how that works out for you. But I know every 4,000 doors, it's not like absolutely nothing happens. I'm talking about every 4,000 doors, I will find that individual that I will have in contract within, a week.
10 days.
I'm not talking about the other 150 to 200 maybes that I am generating that may or may not. Something might not happen. It's not like what happens is when you begin this sort of behavior, people want to know what's the ROI, but it's almost like asking a bodybuilder, hey, what day that you went into the gym did you get that six pack? You're like, no, it was like, it's a culmination. I can't tell you, January 25th, I came in.
6 months of days I did that.
It was like, it's a snowball effect. And so you can never, it's hard for me to say what you'll get. I've got people who, use my script and they're kicking my ass with it, but it works for them. For me, I can tell you how hard it is for me because I don't have it easy. I have to do way more than anybody else I know to get the results I get. But, I say individual results may vary. Individual effort will verify. But I promise you,
that's a great line.
Yeah, it's a Festiniism. I got a few of them. But it's absolutely true. There's only two sides of the real estate coin. That's what I call. One side is prospecting, and the other side is marketing, and they are night and day. And on the side that is prospecting, there's only two things. Prospecting by definition is the telephone and the door. Convince me otherwise. You do not prospect on Facebook. Prospecting is an active method. You market on Facebook. You generate inquiries on Facebook. The internet does not generate leads. The internet generates inquiries that you convert to leads. Prospecting generates leads. Prospecting, you speak to someone in the moment right now, and it is yes or no, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? There's no other method. It's just picking up the phone, knocking there. And some people, and I'd love to change my philosophy. I'm not that hard to convinced if there was something else that was just as effective, I would do it. But, open house is the only one that kind of crosses that line. But anyone who's been in the business long enough knows you can sit in an open house for 6 hours and have nobody show up. Is that actively prospecting? No, you're passively waiting. And anything that's passive for me is marketing. And you have no control. You cannot duplicate it. And you can't sit down and say, today I'm going to market and today I'm going to get a lead. You can't, there's no dollar amount on
marketing.
You being able to go out and get a name and an address and a phone number of someone who's interested in selling their house. It's super rare and super expensive on the internet through marketing. Through prospecting, I promise you, man, you knock 100 doors, use my script, I promise you'll walk out of that 100-door day with 3 names and numbers and addresses in an area you want to do it, right? Not like a mobile home in the sticks. It's like, I want a listing here. I'm going to find it right around here. You'll find names and numbers. And that's, how much would it cost to get that online? You can't do that. Zillow can't even do that. Find a name and a number of an address in your neighborhood that says yes. It just doesn't exist.
What's in your hand when you walk up to the door?
In my hand?
Yeah, or
my phone. Just my phone. Just my phone.
In your back pocket, do you leave anything with them?
Again, very dynamic. When I walk up to the door, it depends on what. Sometimes I show up with like a notepad and a bag and comps. And sometimes it's just what I do is I'm super cheap, very, very cheap man. So what I'll do is I'm looking for a sample of it. I'll get an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper sideways, and it'll be a 3-up like trifold style printout, 2-sided. One side has my comps. One side has a little, the market's hot with my face on it or something. Yeah. And those little strips, because there's 3 on a page, 110-pound cardstock paper on a 98 bright through a 2-sided printer, 100 in a ream, or 250 pages in a ream, chopped into 3. Now you have 750 pieces of paper, and it's about that thick. I'm a big guy, so I can stuff 150. So I'll usually count out 100 of those little slips. So most of the time it's just my phone, just like this, and these slips in my back pocket. Because if you walk up to the door with a pile of crap in your hands, looks like you're going to sell some crap. If you walk up to the door, clean cut, clean shaven, looking all right, and you just walk up with a phone in your hand, you're a neighbor. You know what I mean? There's like a defense. You show up looking like you're going to sell something, like you're getting magazine subscriptions to go to Europe, and you've got your freaking house arrest anklet, right? And this like trifold brochure. You know who I'm talking about. They're out there.
Right.
But that is perception. We're not, as I was saying earlier, we're not as dumb as a goldfish. We process things a lot faster. On the telephone, we listen and hear the words and the sounds in the background. At the door, we size someone up, and within a fraction of a second, we identify evolutionarily friend or foe. And when they show up, you look at them. Who is this? And they look all right. What do they want? Right? Is this a neighbor? I don't recognize them. Right? If you go up there looking like Joe shit rag bag, like you just fucking smoked some smoked Percocets on a tinfoil pan, and you show up looking like all blasted, they're going to be like, they're going to open up the door and go, what do you the chain's not even going to come off the door,
right? Because
they're going to be like, who the hell are they? Sometimes many people don't answer the door for safety reasons.
What are you wearing when you because I've seen you wear what you got on.
Yeah,
to a golf shirt.
A golf shirt, if it gets above 80, it's a golf shirt. But this at the door's open. Anything else, like I was walking in the street one time, and I saw another door knocker. It's kind of the weirdest thing. I saw one guy, he was I'd never ever really hardly ever see other door knockers, but that day I saw one, and it's right after I published the book, right? And so he came up and goes, and I stopped him because he looked kind of shy, and it was maybe a 35-year-old Hispanic dude. And I'm like, hey, are you door knocking? And And he goes, yeah. I go, what are you selling? He was selling solar, right? And I'm like, well, dude, and I just happen to have my book and we're near my car. I go, you got to read this. I go, this is going to change your game. He goes, well, actually, I was trying to get into real estate. I go, the fact that you got the nerve to go out and door knock, you're going to do great. But, here's how I go, just be careful who you learn from, right? It's real important as a student what path you take when you start this business. You can either take the path of, I'm afraid, so I'm going to market and call it hustle. Or, you know what, I'm going to go out and hunt for it. You're going to follow the path of like Gary Vaynerchuk and be a keyboard cowboy, or you're going to follow Grant Cardone and say, you know what, I'm going to go out and get it, right? And those two paths are going to be slightly crossover, because I think Grant Cardone's more of a marketer too. I'm going to say more like Jordan Belfort, where he's a salesperson and he's a criminal and an ex-drug addict. But Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, he's definitely got sales, right? And so when I saw him, I was like, oh, da, da, da. And then it was the strangest thing. Another dude was walking up the street and he was door knocking. But when I saw the guy who was selling solar, he looked, someone will open the door. This guy who walked up, I swear to God, I thought maybe he was coming home and he lived at this house, because he looked like such a hot mess. He had just like long, scraggly hair and he was just super pasty. And when he walked up, he smelled like cigarettes, and he had like this big old satchel that looked like it probably had a pound of grass and maybe a couple of hits of acid in his back pocket. I mean, he just looked super ratty. And when he walked up, I was like, are you door knocking? He goes, yeah, I am. And he had this weird attitude, and he was like tuned out within seconds looking at his phone. And it was like I was looking at two different people right there going, he's going to be all right. And this guy, what's the deal? But he was selling a membership to some sort of like juice plan. I don't like a nectar juice thing or something. It was like some edible wheat grass or something. I couldn't even understand. He was that bad of a salesman that I didn't understand what he was selling, but he was selling some sort of organic foods. But the dude looked like he had, spent the morning rolling in the organic foods and then just didn't decide to shower. And again,
That's too funny.
I'm not judging people. If he wants to go to Coachella looking like that, fine. If he wants to, go on vacation looking like that. But when you are doing 20 to 100 presentations a day, you got to be on. Like, you have to do, each one of these are the first impression that you'll never recover. And even if you're selling organic freaking Pop-Tarts or whatever he was selling, he could have still been, take his hair, put it back in a ponytail. It was a hot day. He was super greasy face, right? He could have carried a towel and wiped his face off and wore a different shirt that didn't look like he was sweating like it's just, but look at I'm talking about him 2 years later, about these two guys. Impressions and connections matter. And if you're door knocking, there's a high probability you're door knocking in an area that you care what people think. And This is long term. You're not just one and done. This is your farm. This is your neighborhood. And when you see that person again, at the grocery store, I'm always like this. Like, I don't leave my house without a suit, so that when I go, a lot of times my wife's like, you don't have to go to your appointment for like 2 or 3 hours. Let's go. We're just going to go to Vaughn's or Home Depot or whatever. I'm like, no, maybe I dress. She goes, it's just real quick. I'm like, no, I know I'm going to go out and I'm going to run into someone. And the more you do things right, the more your marketing comes back. If you're doing proper marketing in a neighborhood, the suit and tie is going to catch up, where people can be like, dude, I see you everywhere. Hey, what do you do? Even the cashier, what do you do for? Are you coming back from church? People will engage you because this is rare. 80 years ago, in the roaring 20s or whatever, everyone had a suit and a tie. So it was uncommon, right? You go to Utah, everyone's in a suit because, Mormons everywhere. So they're all always dressed right. But anywhere else, because I got a Mormon one-on-one, and I'm like, I go, just make sure, you got a colorful tie. So they know, you're not like, it's not church time. But it's,
we got the JWs here, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right. And so if you have a brand and it matches what you're doing in the street at the doors, so many times when I'm door knocking later that day, I've seen that person like at the school, you know what I mean? Or when I'm picking up my kid. And many times I've like door knocked in the morning, and then and I don't really recognize, the random people at the school. But then all of a sudden, because I'm out door knocking, and then I go to pick up my kid, I'll see like the dad who I saw at the door, and I'm like, Hey, do I know you from something? Like, oh, hey, man, your kid goes to school here? Boom, connection. You know what I mean? But if I was Joe shit ragbag, I went home dressed down and went back there and I saw him, I'm not going to approach him. I'm like, oh, shit, there's that guy.
Right.
But if I'm like this, I'll be like, boom, connect. And it's just letting go of like this feeling that you always have to be, you know, um, you always have to put on like a front. If you could just be yourself, you know what I mean? But put on the suit and be yourself. It just, it's part of the costume. You know what I mean? It always, and the door knocking, the impression of what you wear it makes such a huge difference, in the ability to penetrate, reluctancy, especially, a single housewife by herself at home. You have to look like the least dangerous person on the planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just don't open the door.
Well, James, we've hit the 32-minute mark. Go ahead and pitch your book.
Wow.
Pitch your coaching.
I thought this was a party, man. I thought we were going to go all night.
Oh no. I've got to go to bed at some point.
Yeah, where you at? What's your time there?
It's 8:30 my time.
All right.
I'll finish the bottle tonight. Don't get me wrong. I'll finish the bottle yet tonight.
I gotta paint a mural. Again, marketing and branding always pays off. I was doing this. I'm an artist, so I was doing these little chalk murals in my neighborhood. And the owner of a chain of daycares hit me up and she goes, "Hey, can you do a mural at our daycare?" I'm like, "I'm a real estate agent." She goes, "Yeah, I know. I see your signs everywhere." Okay. But, I see that you're an artist and I'd like to. I said, "Okay, great." So I go there this morning to go look at the wall. She's going to have me do a big butterfly, the very hungry caterpillar or something. I'm going to start tonight. So I'm saying, because as soon as I get home at 8:00, I'm going to run to Michael's, pick up my gear and go start painting in the dark. And, I showed up this morning. I could have shown up there as the typical agent who would have shown up in, jeans and a t-shirt and like chit chatted, because I'm going there as in the realm of an artist. And, most people always want to like embrace this persona of like, oh, I've got to play this part. I went there like this. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk. And so she gave me the key and we're talking. She goes, I hope you don't like paint like that. I'm like, no. I'll loosen my tie. but there's always like poking and gestures at like, it becomes a meme. And when, again, you can be a good person and you can like be a meme in a suit, it translates, man. But you gotta release, you gotta get over trying to be cool, man. Being a dork is in. So the book is, I've always meant to do an Audible, but it's very hard to get into Audible, which is amazing. I self-published this, so don't go grading my work. But it's called Dynamic Door Knocking.
It's on Amazon, correct?
It's on Amazon, Dynamic Door Knocking. I don't know about the link. You just go on Amazon, but it is when COVID hit, I published it in January of last year. Probably the worst book to write.
I had John when it first came out.
Yeah.
I'm sure book sales soared at that point.
It started gaining traction. In my opinion, it's not just because I'm a narcissist. I think this is the techniques in here are so different than what people learn that it will give you a better feeling about going out and door knocking. It'll help you understand that it's not what you think it is. And I when COVID hit, I was going to republish this and I was going to change everywhere where it said door, I was going to change it to say phone. And everywhere it says knocking, I was going to say calling, and then go into the text and say mass update those words, because everything that's in here, with the exception of like the body language stuff, translates to the phones. I mean, as soon as the pandemic hit, I was just like, put that off to the side. I'm done with that. Take it back to the phones, because I've been telephone prospecting from 92 to 2012, and then in 2012 I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hit the doors, because again, it was one of those where I had to take action. Shit wasn't getting done. And when like enough is enough and you don't have enough and you've had enough, that's when you take action. Most people come to my coaching. I do one-on-one coaching, but I don't like talk about it, because most people come to me when they're like, I need to make money yesterday. If I don't make a deal in the next 6 months, I'm out. And that's a validation that like they've avoided what they know works and spent everything they could on everything that might work.
Right.
And they're like, they do the Hail Mary with my system when all they had to do, like, hey man, I'm sitting here. You could drink wine all day, man, and telemarket. You get on your TV show, you have a bottle, and say, I had a real good drinking problem. That wasn't a problem. I drank, no problem. But I would sit all day. I'd buy, back in the day, I would pick up a case of beer and plop it right there, and I'm going to do some drunk dialing, and you really loosen up. As long as you have the right script and the right attitude and the right expectation, it's not that bad. It's really, it's not that bad. Woodson, you just, I'm familiar with Helix's system, and I appreciate that whatever systems, work for whoever works. But at the end of the day, you'll always have to condition yourself to identify what you're buying into. Are you buying into marketing, or are you buying into prospecting? And as real estate agents, we're the prime targets of marketers who want to sell us marketing. And there are very, very, very few marketers who sell you on prospecting. And that's why my content remains so unpopular, because it's just not something people want to do.
Right.
But it works. It absolutely works. That's why, going to the gym is a lot less popular than buying the pill and taking the pill. It'd be a lot easier. The fad diets are a lot more profitable than the gym memberships, because it just seems like there's got to be an easier way. But
you are the bitter pill.
It's not that bad though, man. I make it easy. I put a lot of sugar on it, man. I put a lot of sugar on it. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, man.
Toward the end of July, let's have you on again.
Just as soon as I start door knocking, join me. Many times what I'll do when I go out door knocking, I take 2 phones with me. I'll take this phone, which has Sales Rabbit. It's been so long, I don't even know what app I knock with. I'll take this phone, and I'll take this phone. I carry 2 phones with me, and I'll put YouTube Live right here, and I'll stream. I'll take this right on top of there, and I'll carry this to the door, and you'll be with me while I door knock. This is the angle from up here, because I'm not going to be like, hey guys. But I very often, go live. I do a lot of my live streaming as I'm cold calling, like for the next hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube, James Festini. I have a second camera right here, a camera right here. I have the pro audio, and you're looking over my shoulder as I'm prospecting. I do that all the time on my YouTube channel. I'm surprised you're never there.
I've watched it many times.
It's very boring. I try to keep you guys entertained, but I'm working, I'm trying to make a buck, man.
You made me feel guilty. I should be doing this.
Well, yeah, you should. And I hope that most of the people who are sitting there watching will take action. And, I'm very happy that people don't, as much as I would love to be a highly in demand coach or trainer, because my systems are so rad. I'm very fortunate that nobody listens or follows what I do, because it would really suck if agents actually did what I do, because the phones would be, we'd have a problem getting people to pick up even more so. And the doors, like, no one would open the door anymore, because everyone would be knocking on the door, because they would know it works. And so I would see more people door knocking if they knew about me, because I make it easy. And so I guess I should be thankful that I'm not a very popular trainer, because if I was, that would be the end of my real estate, success, because people would actually do what I teach.
I appreciate you coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Woodson, I appreciate you drinking enough for both of us.
Well, next month in California, we'll hook up for dinner.
Yeah, we definitely will. I appreciate it, man.
Because last time I didn't realize I was so close to you.
Yeah, where were you?
Anaheim.
You were in Anaheim, right? Yeah, in Anaheim too. I'm in Anaheim right now. I would have picked you up.
And we'd had mad fun.
I went to Disneyland yesterday. I felt violated. Temperature checks, dog sniffers, mask. They were just masked left and right, and they were. It was very awkward. I did not like it.
Well, that's gonna be common. I think it's gonna be it's the new realm.
I'm waiting for a politician to come out and say, "Look, I made it all go away. Vote for me." I thought Newsom was going to do that and be like, "Look, I lifted the mandate. Vote for me." And then we're like, "Yes,
Newsom's an idiot."
Yeah. Looking at him, you wouldn't know, but as soon as he opens his mouth, yeah, it's a problem.
I used to be a fan of him, believe it or not. When he was governor of San Francisco, I was actually a fan of him. I thought he knew what he was doing. The moment he became governor, his intelligence quota went down.
To be honest, a year ago today, maybe a year and a half ago today, I couldn't if you came to me and said for $100,000, who's the governor of California? I couldn't have told you. I was no politics. Like I could tell you who the president was, and that was it. I barely voted. I did as soon as the COVID thing hit, I paid attention. And then finally he came on. I go, oh, look at this good looking dude. And my wife goes, that's the Governor Newsom. I'm like, oh, is that the one I keep seeing these recall signs for? She's like, yeah. I go, what's the matter with the guy? I go, he's a good looking guy. He's well spoken. I started listening. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. That guy's a dick. Okay. I get it. But it didn't take me very long. I didn't have an opinion going in.
He had good press until this all hit.
Nah, everyone's got their issues.
I wish I had his press. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, that would definitely make us good agents.
Thanks, James. Talk to you soon,
Thanks,
buddy.
Woodson, man. Have a great day.
Talk to you guys later. If you guys get any questions, reach out to me, 219-872-8000. Email me, dwoods@gmail.com, or friend me up here right on Facebook next week. Same time, same Dave channel. We'll figure out what I'm talking about next week. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks, James.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you coming on. Go paint something.
Thanks.